on today's episode, I'd like to welcome the Cult of the Yellow Sign. So we have two people on the call. Well, people, that's sort of an assumption, actually. I'm not sure if you're actually human. Perhaps we could start with that.
Well, okay. First, I have the attractive voice. I'm cultist number 138, master of the Black Astral Goathead Sorceries. This is cultist number 420. Say hello, cultist 420.
Hello, 420.
Oh, that joke, ugh. He is the master of incantations and inhalations and High Grand Archduke of the Sludge Furnaces.
Yeah, the sludge furnaces are really a terrifying work environment, but the sludge fungus gets me through it.
Oh, so you get like free...
So that's us.
Okay, well, I mean, that's good
it's
to
like
know.
workmanship comp.
So you get free
We're gonna
sludge.
let you talk now.
Yeah, well, the problem is I can't see you, so I don't know when you're... But even if I did see you, I'll provide a picture for my listeners, so they'll be able to see that... I mean, you guys have no faces, at least not that I can see in this picture.
Right. We're black-clad, faceless abominations from the center of the hollow earth.
Yup.
I mean, this is so fascinating. I have so many questions. I guess let me start off with, what's the overall goal of your cult? And do you have any interesting community service type projects or anything like that in the past or the future?
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there because that's two questions.
Oh, yes,
First
okay.
question. The goal of the Cult of the Yellow Sign is complicated. We are the servitors of Dread Hastur. Originally, that was kind of a foundational religious doctrine. But over the years, we've evolved to create a much more comprehensive pantheon. We like to think that if it's about the eradication of all mortal life in the cosmos, that God's something we're down with. So I would say that in the long term, our goals are to convert as many people as possible, then destroy everyone else, and once we've succeeded at that, destroy ourselves.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, you get into that in the higher levels.
Oh, okay, cool.
You really have to do it in that level or this thing's gonna fail completely. So I agree.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, failure's an abstract. We've been at this for thousands of years, so I don't like to think of it as failure as much as long success.
It's just kind of a waiting game, really.
Yeah, it's a waiting game.
Yeah.
I mean, our logic is we'd like to hasten the end of the universe and all life within it, but we'll settle for eradicating Earth when the sun explodes.
It'll just kind of resolve itself eventually.
Yeah. We win in the long term, either way.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I have some interesting facts here about... Well, actually, hold on. I didn't ask about the community service. I mean, do you guys, are you like a tax exempt organization, or do you do any... Oh, that's another question.
We get a lot of questions about the tax exempt status thing. And while, we are a non-profit religious organization, specifically, we don't believe in profits, prophecies. We're really more of an oaths and sacrifices kind of religious belief system. But in terms of our community outreach, we did at one point adopt a street. That was probably our most successful surface world community outreach program.
So I took a look at some of your videos here, and you feature the dread god Cthulhu a lot, and also Hollow Earth. So can you fill me in on the Hollow Earth thing and also the Cthulhu thing as well?
Okay, yes. Just in theory, do you know how to ask one question at a time?
Okay, so let me just
one at a
ask
time.
You. Okay, so yes. What about the dread god Cthulhu?
I mean, at this point, I feel like Cthulhu has been really mainstreamed. The hipsters and the South Parks and the plushies and the yarn hats. They really decayed the dread that was associated with our dark god Cthulhu. And Cthulhu's not even really a god. He's really a priest of the old gods. So, I mean, I feel like we're trying to bring back the dread and eliminate all the merchandising.
And now I'm going to just ask you, I mean, what about the Hollow Earth thing? Because, I mean, a lot of people, they're doubtful. They don't realize that the Earth is hollow. What do you have to tell them?
That they're idiots. I mean, it's obviously hollow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here looking up at the underside of your dumb planet, so obviously it's hollow. Do those people think it's flat too?
Oh man, people still think that?
It's ridiculous. See, we actually have access to the ancient Gnostic manuscripts that explain how this works. I would show you a picture, but we want to keep you sane for the end of this interview. Essentially, in the center of the Earth is a black sun, the black sun. Like how you have a normal sun, we have a black sun.
Yeah.
It hovers in the center of your Earth, creating an electromagnetic field that allows it to remain, from dissolution, dissolving. And then along the interior surface is the mighty kingdom of Yinigmar, where we live. There's the canker forests, the shard forest, the field of glass, the gigantic rift in space-time, the sentient glaciers, the sea of snakes, all the kind of stuff that you have, except for horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, well, interesting is a strong word. I would say every day. It's every day for us.
It's interesting in theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, people who live anywhere that's not Portland think Portland's really interesting. The Hollow Earth is like that.
Yeah, Hollow Earth is like Portland.
Yeah.
It's like the best comparison.
Yeah, it's both are full of undead slaves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that must affect your commute in the morning.
Oh, no, we use dark magics to teleport. And commute where? To downtown Yinigmar?
I mean, we have a monorail, but
Yeah, but that just primarily goes to the Canker Swamp.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, I guess. I mean, if the canker swamp, is that like just where you go to get cankers?
Well, I feel no. That would be the Forest of Cankers. That's a different location. The Canker Forest is like a canker saw with trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said you had it backwards.
Ah, okay.
Greetings, pathetic mortals. Do not attempt to adjust your internet. This brainwashing new member orientation video will guide you through the new process of becoming a member of the Equal Opportunity Doomsday cult, the Cult of the Yellow Sign. We are the worshippers of Dread Cthulhu, the god who sleeps at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Here, in this video, we will orientate you towards your stay beneath the Tower of Sorrows in the frozen city of Yinigmar in the center of the Hollow Earth. There, your brainwashing instructor, number 269 of our Tucson branch, will begin your orientation process and mind wipe.
So, and I also have here the interesting fact, I mean, you guys seem very progressive in that you're equal opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, we feel that mortal hatred is amateur hour, to be honest. Y'all hate one another for all sorts of reasons. 420 lists some reasons.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, like if people have short hair.
Yeah, I hate people with short hair.
Yeah, or like big noses.
Hate those.
Or like wear sweaters too much.
Hate sweaters.
Yeah.
You see, y'all hate each other for things like race. There's only one race, the dead. You hate each other for national origin, which is ridiculous, borders on an abstract. You hate each other for religious beliefs. We hate all of your religious beliefs.
They're all pretty dumb.
You hate each other for all sorts of silly things. Silly, pathetic, amateur hour things. We hate you all equally. In that way, we think of ourselves as being progressive. We've never cared if a member of the Cult of the Yellow Sign was black or yellow or green or of a binary gender or of some unknown gender or even really mortal or human. None of those things have ever mattered to us.
So, I mean, tell me a little bit about some of the services and benefits of being a member of the cult. For instance, you have life insurance and unlife insurance. I mean, what's the difference between those two? I mean, are they just for living and dead?
One is for when you're alive, and one is for when you're undead. I feel it's very self-explanatory. Yeah. One of the options that one of our greatest benefits is that we teach people to ask open-ended questions instead of close-ended questions.
How about the ritual sacrifices? I mean, how do those go?
Oh, well, I mean, you take a person, usually a mortal kidnapped from the surface. Uh-huh. We take them to a basalt black altar somewhere in the murder basement of the Tower of Sorrows. Uh-huh. And, I mean, there's incantations, there's chanting, burning candles, burning goats, and then we stab you. Not you, stab one to death.
I see. I mean, and also...
Sean, do you see...
Well, I mean, I don't really see. How could I? But I can understand the words you're saying.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was confused. I thought we were literally saying to see. You meant I understand.
Here in this video, you will see our childcare facilities. Look at all the fun things for children to play with, like stagnant puddles. Your children will be well taken care of while you are orientating towards your new time to be spent with the Cult of Yellow Sign. We will teach them hand clap games and ritual suicide. Children are an integral part of the future that we wish to destroy. We consider ourselves to be a cradle-to-the-grave organization.
Speaking of that, I mean, another service that you offer is childcare. So let's say, for instance, one of your cult members happens to have offspring for whatever reason. You have daycare services as well.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much our idea is we like to offer a cradle-to-the-grave experience. The daycare services are really more of a... Yeah, what would you call them? Brainwashing? Brainwashing cages?
Yeah, brainwashing cages.
Our thought is you really have two options. You either join us and die, or you don't join us and die before we die. So we tend to take that, the children, offspring of our still living members. We tend to coach and guide to see if they have the spiritual fortitude to join the cult. If not, they're decapitated and enslaved.
I mean, they're going to die either way, really.
It's really just a hierarchy of who dies, in what order.
Yeah, and I mean, like, also the facilities include things like stagnant puddles, I read, and, multiple meals a day, I would assume, as well.
Well, I don't know. You can go back to the trough as many times as you can fight your way to the front of the line.
Well, there you go. I mean, that also teaches, a certain level of self-sufficiency.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to eat who you're fighting than it is to get to the trough, really.
See, and 420, that's why you've gotten so many promotions in the last few years. You really understand the ethos.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's actually a pretty good idea. And then also, I mean, when you eat other people, just to get into cannibalism a bit, I mean, do they have special sauces, or is it just basically like, au naturel sushi type thing?
Wow, that is the most bougie question I've ever been asked.
I mean, is blood a sauce?
Blood is a sauce. Bone is a meal. Bone meal. I have to be honest. I didn't go to 4 years of Black Astral Goathead Sorcery School to talk about cooking.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. I mean, can we just skip then to the potluck orgies? I mean, that is intriguing to me, at least.
I feel like, Sean, I'm not trying to insult you directly, just your entire race of mortal servants. A potluck orgy seems really self-explanatory to me. There's an orgy and everybody brings a side dish.
Yeah, it's a really good time, really.
It's like an ice cream social.
Yeah, it's a really good bonding
with ritual,
experience.
Sexual. Yeah, it's a bonding experience for survivors of the cult.
Yeah.
And like, do you assign like stuff that people bring, or does everyone just bring like the same old crappy salsa chips and with dip and crap?
Oh, you meant food. I thought you meant sex toys.
Oh.
No, we're not really into telling people how to live the minutia of their life. We're really more into the macro meta level of telling you how to live your life. If you want to bring potato salad that has bacon in it, that's fine. I don't care. I don't eat. I've been dead for centuries.
It's not really about the food you bring. It's about
the experience.
The experience, yeah.
And you guys, I mean, obviously you practice safe sex during these orgies, right?
Is there another kind? I mean, we all carry protection at all times. I personally prefer a mace. I think 420 is a shovel. That's your preferred protection.
That's really the only thing I was allowed to have in the furnaces.
Oh, yeah, because you grew up working in the furnaces.
Yeah.
Oh, God, the furnaces. I'm sorry, we're getting sidetracked, Sean. Fond memories.
You may be saying to yourself, how can I sign up? What is the application process? Why, it's very simple. On a full moon, in the dead of the night in an ancient wood, your mind will be prepared by transcendental meditation. Look up to the stars. Take our Cult of Application, found on page 265 of the Necronomicon, chapter Ritual Sacrifices. Place your hand upon the book and slash your wrists. Allow the blood to impregnate the page. Also, you should probably bring some.
I just want to know, like, how would one get into the cult? Like, is there an entrance exam, or can you just show up?
Well, it's really more. I mean, the exam is having a pulse. If you have a pulse, we'll find you. We seek the pulse of life, and then we kidnap you, usually by a van. Then we drive that directly into a portal to the center of the Hollow Earth, to our mighty city, Vienna. I guess it's not so much an entrance exam as it is a hoodwinking or a shanghaiing.
And sometimes you just kind of fall on the ground like sinkholes and stuff.
Yeah. We have so many bizarre magical wormholes and portals just kind of scattered throughout your planet. We that's how we send our vat job humans to the surface. That's, we try to integrate. People tend to think of a cult as being like a membership, something that you join, like Costco or something.
No, it's not really a choice.
It's not really a choice. That's kind of the idea here. We're not interested in your choices. Your free will means nothing to us. Free will is really the problem. We feel it's better to simply kind of fall into things like this, like juggling. Nobody wakes up and says they want to juggle.
It just kind of happens. You pick up some, skulls.
You start to drop those skulls, but you manage to not drop. That's how jugglers happen.
Yeah.
Nobody falls into other circus arts. You kind of nobody chooses to be in the circus, I guess, is the moral of this story.
Yeah.
So basically, listeners who desperately want to be in the cult, I mean, they're just going to have to.
Well, if you're trying to join, I guess the easiest thing to do would be to draw a double pentagonogram somewhere in your home in the blood of someone that you once cared for, and that's kind of like pinging us, like sending us an SMS text message with your GPS locations. I understand some mortal technology, so I mean, if you really want us to come and visit you. The two ways to do that would be to draw a double pentagonogram in the blood of a loved one and sacrifice a small, preferably cloven-hooved animal before it, while lighting 6 black candles made of the aborted fetus blood and fat. That's way one. Way two would be to book us, to just reach out to us and say you'd like us to come and visit you. That's, if you've got a phone or a computer, that's usually the more modern solution to reaching out to us.
A lot more people do that than sacrifice. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, the sacrificing has really gone by the wayside in the modern era.
Yeah.
You guys produce a prodigious amount of music. So there's a musical component to the cult.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We learned primarily from listening to the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Basically, our premise was to attack every form of media possible. If we want to brainwash people, we figure you should go through all the traditional brainwashing mediums. We produced religious tracts for a long time. I mean, zines. They were the homemade zines that we would distribute for a small price. We also produced our own podcast for about a year called Live from the Tower of Sorrows.
Broadcasting deep from the center of the Hollow Earth and directly into your mind. This is the Cult of the Yellow Sign on KWLT. Live from the Tower of Sorrows. Greetings, pathetic mortals. We are the Cult of the Yellow Sign, ancient mage priests of the dread old ones, and this is Live from the Tower of Sorrows. I'm your host, Cultist 101, speaking to you from deep in the endless black bowels of our secret frozen fortress at the center of the Hollow Earth.
Really, the only reason we stopped doing that was because the anchor for the show, Cultist 101, got a job as a minor politician in the surface world, and we figured it was better to have him doing our bidding in local politics than it was hosting a radio show for slaves. We also have an EP that we released called, what is it? It's called Apocalypse Business is our EP. It's a 3-track demo that we released in, I believe, 2015 by the Gregorian calendar. That features a unique blend of really angry Game Boy and guitar and screaming. Though, Sean, you may be the first person that we've actually talked to this about. But we actually just finished recording a new album, a full-length album called Top of the Pile, that we're trying to figure out how to distribute because we don't understand what medium you guys are into. It was vinyl for a while, and then there was cassettes. I don't know what's next. 8 tracks?
It could be direct brain implantation, for all I know.
I don't think it's going to take us that long to release the record. I don't think your species is going to move that far technologically in the next year or so. Really, the only thing stopping us is that releasing the record will cost us an enormous amount of money, like $250.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to have to try and do a fundraiser or something from your cult members.
That's a good idea. We should probably start a GoFundMe. Sean, thank you for that idea.
I'm actually looking at Apocalypse Business here on your Bandcamp page, and the tracks are Vampire Skull, Dark Souls, and Double Pentagonagram.
Double Pentagonagram.
I brutalized that.
And did you listen to the record, Sean? I say Double Pentagonagram like 14 times in that song.
Well, to be honest, I only listened to the first
song.
2 tracks.
Oh, you got bored after 6 minutes?
Sorry, I ran out of time. However, what I'd like to point out is that the album was released on January the 4th, 2015, and my birthday is January the 4th, and I was born in 1975.
We know that, Sean.
So this kind of freaked me out a little bit.
It was intended to freak you specifically out.
I mean, I thought so. And incantations here are by number 138.
That's me.
Evocations by number 420.
That's him.
And conjurations by number 333.
That's true. At the time, we had another active member. One of the things to keep in mind is that the Tower of Sorrows is like a stable full of cultists. Our ranks do shift quite a bit. At the time, 333 was in the Conjurations department and art department. You don't hear 333's voice on that record because 333 was a mute. Yeah, 333 was a member of our active branch, the Phoenix Surface branch at the time. 333 now slumbers in the Tower of Sorrows, where they're in charge of our kindergarten programs.
So, and this album here, it's experimental thrash, chiptune, goat wave. You guys also play live shows as well, right? I mean, I saw some videos online where you were like playing live shows. I don't know. I'm trying to get a kind of a grip on where you guys are. You guys in Arizona, right?
Well, one of our portals does open in Phoenix, Arizona. We thought that we would go to an environment that bred hopelessness and weakness in the mortals that inhabited it. So we went for Phoenix, Arizona, because Tucson's kind of cold.
Yeah.
No, we have played a lot of live shows. We find that, well, let me be honest with you, Sean. Can I be honest with you, Sean? That being in a cult doesn't make any money. You know, the dry cleaning bills alone are outrageous.
Yeah.
You know, between that and all of the knives that we have to buy because the health department only lets us use them like one time. You know, it's a very expensive proposition. And we thought, why not start a band?
Bands make money.
They make lots of money.
Yeah.
So we started a band. We're waiting for that time in which we start to make lots of money. The t-shirts do well.
Yeah.
People love wearing fabric.
And you guys have groupies as well who are presumably alive.
We call them acolytes. You know, groupies is derogatory.
Yeah,
that's actually at its very core. Groupies is misogynistic, Sean.
Oh, I think you could be right.
You should be embarrassed. Continue perpetuating such a negative opinion. Because when you say groupies, you mean women who would have sex with us. We're not interested in sex, Sean. That's disgusting and mortal. Acolytes, we're interested in blood, not sexual fluids. And you know, it's that kind of casual misogyny that you mortals are so good at.
Wow.
You know, lock in on and really analyze your life.
I gotta think this over.
That's usually the problem with white men. They have to think about things.
What's your opinion about rival cults like the Unarians, the Ethereans, and the Discordians, or maybe Church of Subgenius? I mean, can you be a cult member? Like, can you be in the Church of the Subgenius and also be in the Cult of the Yellow Sign at the same time, for instance?
Oh, yeah. I think the big thing is that, you know, we're all about diversity. You know, we're all about you having a lot of gods. You know, like a man with one god is a man who can really only pray to one source for help. We find that having lots of gods gives us lots of options.
Yeah.
You know, The Aetherians, not that impressed. Scientology's got it down, though, man.
Yeah, they make a killing.
I don't know how everybody who's got money goes to them. We get all the poor humans. But I will say this: the Discordians, we've always had a very tight relationship with. Sean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Anton Wilson.
Yes.
You are. He was a prophet of Discordianism. He actually mentions us in the Illuminati series. We're called the Brotherhood of the Yellow Sign because Robert, being a man, made everything about penises. It's not a brotherhood; it's a cult. Anybody's allowed, regardless of whatever genitals they were born with. But going back before that, the Yellow Sign was in the works of H.P. Lovecraft and Robert W. Chambers, and before that, it was written in stone and blood. So I like to think that we really just existed as an ancient meme, meme, whatever, however you pronounce it.
Number 138. Can you just maybe? Do you feel like you can open up and just let me know like what your personal story is? I mean, how did you find the cult? Were you always a member of the cult, or did the cult approach you, or did you just fall into a hole one day? How did that work?
Well, Sean, none of those things. First, Sean, my name is 138. It's not 138, okay? I'm not calling you Cian, so let's get it right. I'm 138 and he's 420. He's not 420. I'm not 138. You're going to confuse everybody if you keep changing our names. All right, so firstly, I personally, I was working my first job. I guess, I'm not sure of the exact year. We were building this thing called Stonehenge. And I'd gotten a job for the summer as a whip master. So I was just whipping people, the everyday kind of summer job. And then one night, just after the completion of Stonehenge, a great void opened in the earth. A great purple portal opened and swallowed me up. And when I awoke, I was in the Hall of Secrets with the Grandmasters of the Cult of the Yellow Sign. They're all the ones who have a single-digit number. Number 0, grandfather. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. That's the inner circle. And they basically said to me, man, recruitment's been really bad. Are you interested in a job? And, at the time I didn't realize it would be an unpaid internship, but, over the centuries I honed my skills and I moved into upper management. I'm really striving for that double-digit assignment, having 3 digits in your number is good, it's great, but I'm really looking to eventually get into those double digits. Really gunning for number 99 slot, if you know what I mean, Sean.
Yeah, I do. I mean, the perks involved with that probably much better.
My signature would be exactly 1 character shorter.
Yeah, that makes filling out forms easier as well.
And you have no idea how many forms we have to fill out all the time. So many forms.
Oh,
and release forms, etc., and then the kinds of pencils I can only imagine. And then back in the day, you wouldn't have pencils; you'd just be using like quills or sticks dipped in blood or what have you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're doing this interview on your own, Sean. That's exactly what I was going to say.
What about number 420?
Oh yeah, 420. Tell him your story.
Well, I was in my room playing some music, and then, I played my record backwards, and then this hole opened up in the ground. And then they strapped this thing to my face and told me to shovel this stuff in a fire. And then I kind of, lost most of my bodily functions because of that stuff. What, sludge fungus is what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, the sludge fungus really, really degrades your inner workings.
So now I don't really think a whole lot, which, gets me through most of the trouble.
I mean, you don't need to, drink a whole lot of alcohol or do a lot of drugs if your brain's basically already goo.
Yeah, sentient goo at that.
Sentient goo, yeah.
The sludge fungus hungers.
Yeah.
Do people there in the cult, do you manage to form real friendships and relationships? I mean, with other cult members?
Well, I don't know that I would say friendship, but I do think that there's a certain bond that when the Mormon missionaries come to visit, those people didn't really know one another particularly well, and then they're kind of fused to one another. They travel as a group. They're never really separated. They wear matching outfits. They talk about a bunch of crazy stuff. I feel like, if there's really any of you mortals that understand us, it's like 20-year-old Mormon missionaries. We're not really friends. We're in a job together. We have a bond that goes deeper than friendship. 420 is pretty much the only person that I hang out with. You know, and 420, I know you hang out with the brain slugs occasionally.
Yeah.
But like, for the most part, it's really just you and I.
Pretty much.
Like, we're tightly knit, but friendship, I feel like friendship is such a mortal concept.
It's really like an abstract, like friends. Like, what does that mean?
What I know is this, is that 420 and I, when we get together, we create beautiful things together. We create podcasts, we make music together, and frankly, the only person who's ever been able to tolerate me as a musician has been 420. And the only person who's ever been able to play any of the compositions that were written in the Black Tome of Yagal has been 420. Without him, I mean, what would I really be without you, 420?
I mean, still dead.
Still dead, pretty much.
Yeah, and I find just by observing other people, like other people who are wrapped up in a major cause, I mean, isn't the ultimate goal of the cult way more than both of you? I mean, you're both basically, you know, totally devoted to this ultimate cause, which is the destruction of everything.
So what's your question, Sean?
Oh, that was just me, like...
That was you just telling us what we're about?
Oh, yes, I guess so. I mean, I just came up with a theory, I suppose.
Your mortal theories will never ace what it is that we're about. But that's pretty close, I'll give you that. That's like 85%.
He
B+.
Gets a lot of it, yeah.
A weak B+.
A weak B+. So I'm going to wrap this interview up if possible. I just want to know, there's this question that I like to ask, feel good question I like to ask guests towards the end. I mean, is there anything you've learned with your experience joining the cult of the yellow sign? Anything profound?
You know, Sean, for me personally, and I'll let 420 speak for himself. For me personally, what I found is that if you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter if other people understand you. It doesn't matter if other people get you. If you believe in yourself and you're true to the things that matter to you, which in my case was wearing a black robe, waving a knife around, playing Game Boy music, stabbing people, stealing things, really, really reach down inside of yourself and are honest about who you are and what it is you want from life and death and on life, you'll find someone. You'll find somebody who understands you if you give it enough time. It took me, 1,800 years to meet 420. And I really think that it was by being honest about who I was that I was lucky enough to meet somebody within the cult and the cult itself that really understood what I was about. Excuse me, if I had tear ducts, I would be crying a little bit, but I don't. So 420, it's your turn.
Well, I don't know. I feel like the most useful thing I learned was how to give up. That's really, really essential to growth.
Surrender.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that. Succinct as always. Sean, there's a thing that I like to do. I don't know if you've listened to our podcast, but I interviewed quite a few people as well. There's a thing that I like to do at the end of my interviews that I'd like to do with you now, Sean. I would like you to say something nice about me and 420.
You guys...
Silence.
You guys, truly, I mean, I've come to learn that whether you're dead or alive, in the end, everybody, I think, has something that they're really striving towards, and if you just keep your head to the stone, and keep pushing, I mean, you'll get closer.
You just keep pushing that stone with your head, Sean. I think you said it very eloquently.
Yeah. Was that
a Sisyphus reference?
Yeah.
Life is Sisyphusian.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to like draw that out of my heart, but unfortunately, I've been very sarcastic
grab a butter
these
knife,
days.
Sean. Grab a butter knife and draw it out of your heart. Let me tell you something, Sean. Sarcasm is weak. Sarcasm doesn't make you sound smart. It makes you sound stupid because you do the same thing. You react to everything with the same response. If you encounter the world and you only look at it as being one way, you look at the way that the world is and you react without thinking all the time. then you know better than us, Sean. You're just one of us. If you just treat life with this kind of meaningless nihilism, sarcasm, irony, you're not really living at all. So why not put on a hood, lay down in the ground, and wait for us to open a portal so that we can bring you here, chop your head off, and enslave you?
That sounds like a really good idea.
It worked for us, Sean.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound so bad.
Well then, like I said, confront life with irony and sarcasm. As you are right now, Sean. Because it does sound bad to be an undead slave with no head.
Let me just also ask, do you guys have any, future projects and can you just also just let us know like where we can find you on the web and also Facebook?
Sure, Sean. Like I said earlier, we're hoping to release our debut full-length record, Top of the Pile, this year. We're also discussing whether or not we'd like to revitalize our podcast without our original voice caster. That's something we'd really like to start doing again. You can find us at our Bandcamp at cultoftheyellowsign.bandcamp.com, I think. You can find us on Facebook as The Cult of the Yellow Sign. Is there anywhere else? We have a Patreon.
Patreon, yeah.
But nobody gives us that much money. I think we make like $8 a month on Patreon. And we don't really offer you anything. We haven't really figured out how to offer people destruction.
We just kind of take their money.
We pretty much take it. Thank you, by the way, to all of our Patreon subscribers, the like 4 of you that have been giving us like $5 a month.
We really appreciate it.
You have no idea how helpful it is when we need more fog machine fluid or more yarn to simulate human entrails.
Yeah. So thank you.
It does make a difference, guys.
Well, that's great. So, thanks so much for being on the show, guys.
Sean, thank you. And if at any time it seems like we're being difficult with you or harsh with you, we are, Sean.
Yeah.
We don't like anyone.
Nope.
Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this extended interview with number 138 and 420 from the Cult of the Yellow Sign. You may have noticed the sound quality does take a bit of a dive toward the latter half of this episode. Well, it seems like the Wi-Fi wasn't the best inside the Hollow Earth that day, so we had to switch devices along the way. Remember, you can listen to the Cult's music and podcast over on their Bandcamp page, thecultoftheyellowsign.bandcamp.com. They're also on Facebook and Twitter too. You just need to search for the Cult of the Yellow Sign. As usual, intro and outro music is by Kromatiks Music and is used with permission. All other music, along with the audio for the recruitment video, is by the Cult of the Yellow Sign, and I'll have links to them in the show notes. It'll all be on shareaslicepodcast.com. And I've also entered this podcast up against other podcasts in this competition called Podcast Madness, and there'll be details for that in the show notes as well. The first podcast we're up against is a movie podcast called Screen Addicts, and they've invited me onto their show. We'll see if I can make it. It depends really on my crazy schedule. So as always, I beg of you, please do leave this podcast a review and rating over at iTunes. It really helps, if anything, to let me know that there's someone out there listening. Anyway, number 138 from the Cult of the Yellow Sign was nice enough to let me have an advance copy of one of the songs of their upcoming album, Top of the Pile. It's called Coffin Stuffer. So I'll play it here on the way out for you to give it a listen. Have a great day, and I hope you'll be back for the next episode.
So you say you want a body on the top of the pile? Well, don't you worry, kid. It will be a short while till Azeroth annihilates this place you call home, and you're reduced to nothing more than ash and bone. Coffin Stuffers, dead from the start. Coffin Stuffers.
Coffin Stuffers. As you slowly die, some nigger off as a Thoth, Cthulhu, and Yig. Remember these names well, for your graves they shouted. And Nyarlathotep, the dread pharaoh, wanders in the east. And Hastur, the god whose name we should never speak. Coffin Stuffers, dead from the start. Coffin Stuffers, killing is an art. Coffin Stuffers, I want to see you writhe. Coffin Stuffers.